Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
Hi, it's Ed Cohen, and broadcasting today from Maui. Ooh, it's a good place to be, I'll tell you that. Work from anywhere, right? And this is Global TV Talk Show, a service of globalbusinessnews.net. I encourage you to go visit it. Google Analytics has measured a little over 1.2 million reader page views on the site since '03. And of course, we're really happy about that. And we've learned how to do Zoom meetings. Before March 1st, I never did it. And since then, producer Paul and I have done over 70 broadcasts. And Google Analytics has, in their wisdom, said that we've had over 75,000 reader page views since March 1. A lot has to do with the videos. So, hi Nazia, welcome. And I thank you all for joining us today for a show that's going to be a dialogue, not a webinar, a dialogue, an idea exchange about lessons learned and first time things. What did you do for the very first time since March 1 as a result of COVID and the impact on business and on all of us personally? As I just said, I've never done video before March 1. We always did live conferences, Europe, Latin America, Canada, US. Always wanted to do global, but was afraid of doing video. I wasn't sure I was camera ready, or if I was going to stutter or pick my nose or do something weird. So here we are. So call this Media Training 101, and talk about yourself, talk about your business from the point of view, what lessons have we learned since all of this began? And how are we going to do things different for our best customers? Their needs have changed. How are we going to help them achieve what they need? So we have a large cast today. First off, I want to say hello to Helen Lobo. Welcome. Helen, please quickly, in like 30 seconds, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Helen Lobo. I'm the director of Rasheed, based out of Bahrain in the Middle East. And we are into corporate events, which is conferences, IT, and we have a training institute in Bahrain as well. Okay,
Maryann, Hrichak, did I pronounce your name right?
You got it right. Nobody usually gets it right unless you're related to me.
Oh, well.
So unfortunately, I am not in Maui. I am in, although I wish I were, I'm in San Francisco, and I manage a global immigration matters for a French software company that's based in the Bay Area.
Yeah, what's that company name?
It's called Ivalua.
What's that about?
IVAUA.
Oh, so is that about immigration?
No. I'm the immigration piece to manage foreign national personnel there. I'll put the name in the chat for you.
Yeah, please, everybody use that chat and introduce your website or your LinkedIn page or email. All right, Ali Shami, please quickly introduce yourself better than I did a few minutes ago.
Good evening, good morning. I see Nazia from Dubai. There's Helen from Dubai also, right?
Bahrain.
Bahrain, okay, all right. I'm Ali Shami, just recently retired from the Boeing 2 years ago from the Boeing company. My company is Global Leadership. I started a new company called FTD Global. It's a global leadership, cultural awareness, doing business across cultures. I'm so looking forward to learning from everybody, and what a pleasure to be among folks with so many experiences, skills, talents. So I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm looking forward to learning from everybody.
Okay, thanks. Rasheed, Nazia Abdullah Rasheed, please introduce yourself much better than I just did. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying you usually do very well introduction, much better than we do. So yes, I'm Nazia Abdullah Rasheed. Some of you may know, like Ali Shami, we met before. Helen, we are very much in contact through Roscom, and It's been a pleasure. For everybody else, I am based in Dubai. I'm from Pakistan. I've been in UAE for the past 15 years. Started off with training competency, then HR, and now global mobility. Working as a consultant for the past 6.5 years. Lots of happened in 220, a lot of personal and professional experiences never have had before. And so we'll share a few things with you all and for the audience so that we enter into the 2021 with more experience and more preparation. So yeah, in short, a global mobility person, understand the Middle East, how it works, how it is progressing, how the new visions of the leadership across the Middle East, specifically Gulf region, the political, social scenario is changing, developing, and how we look forward to enter the 2021.
Good, thank you. And just to tie this loop together now, our friend Ali is originally from Beirut. He left as a teenager, escaping the Civil War, and came to America. He's the perfect example of the value of immigrants in the U.S. So,
Thank
of
you,
course, no, I love you. Thank you. Csaba, introduce yourself, please.
Okay, my name is Csaba, and I'm half Hungarian, half British. I've been here for 16 years. I'm the founder of ICQ Global, the author of the Uncommon Sense in Unusual Times book, and also the developer of the Global Disk Framework. So technically, it's a company focusing on how we can make sense of why people think and behave so differently and how we can turn those differences into synergy. And it's about moving away from countries a little bit and focusing on individual and group mindset.
Yeah, and how we can bring our differences and make something new and better. Patrick Michaels, first time on our program. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Ed. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I am sitting in Philadelphia, although I currently live in central London, right outside of London Bridge. So I think, yeah, this is a good example that we can be everywhere, right, remotely. You're in Maui, I'm in Philadelphia, but engaging worldwide. So I'm founder and CEO of Represent, which is a worldwide representation firm specializing in 6 core verticals. I'm also partner brand ambassador for Next 90 Days, which is a C-suite management transformation firm. And our offices are based within the US, Amsterdam, the UK, and Singapore. So primarily my background is 5-star hospitality. I was global vice president of sales for AKA and the Corman family for 50 years. And yeah, personally relocated to London 4 years ago. So my reach has always been within mobility, and I've sat on different boards and have attended every ERC. So I know most of you, and it's yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So I've stayed in AKA in Beverly Hills and in New York and Marylebone, London area, and Philadelphia. And they've been sponsors and speakers at some of our meetings as well. So thank you. For the first time, Robert Garcia, welcome.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you to my bestie, Helen. We go way back. We worked together when I was at the Society for Human Resource Management in the Middle East, and we did great things together. Glad to join you. I am currently with Randstad RiseSmart, career mobility firm. We focus on outplacement, redeployment, internal redeployment, and career development. We're part of Randstad, which is the largest career staffing company in the world. And we have offices in probably 5,000 different locations. And thrilled to be here. Certainly have had a very global career, have been to 86 different countries. I need to visit 4 states in the US. I'm working on Nebraska, Iowa, Montana, and Arkansas. And live in Miami, so just as nice as Maui, probably, but the weather is nice. And have traveled extensively, but always a home base and office in Miami. So
a special guest, Jeff Houck from Calgary, Canada area. Hi, Jeff. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, Ed. Good to see you again. Csaba, Patrick, Helen, nice to see you all. Nice to meet you, Robert, Maryann, Nazia. Hallie, I watched you on a program the other day. Good to see you also.
See you too.
I am Robert. I'm an hour and a half north of Montana where I am today. I'm actually at our place in British Columbia, Canada. So if you come up here, it's a short drive away.
Cool. I'll be there.
I'm thanks, Ed. I'm a senior leader in global mobility and talent management, formerly with Canada's largest integrated energy company, and before that, Canada's largest upstream producer. So a lot of energy, but all about the industry of talent management. And I'm in transition right now and have actually really enjoyed this year of having the opportunity to dig in a very new way, as all of us have on the technology side. But I think it's been nice for me in a way where during this time when there's been so much stress, I've been able to really focus on picking up the new craft of really networking online and pulling out some different things. I wanted to talk about one of the things, Ed, and you're going to go into it, which I've been working on as I'm pursuing, a role in a well-fitted company somewhere that's all about the people experience, because that's what I'm all about, and that's what we need to focus on for sure. But one of the things that I'm going to be working on and have this year is I spent a lot of time with a branding coach, which was just a phenomenal experience. And he and I have agreed to do some video segments so that we can actually bring some people along with us. Everyone's talking about it, but no one's actually really demonstrating and bringing people along for the ride as a layman. So that's something that I'm looking forward to just over the holidays this year.
What do you mean by bringing people along?
I think that we have seen so many. It's it's the catchphrase, it's the personal brand, and then they leave you and they say, yeah, you need to make sure your LinkedIn profile looks good, and that's going to take care of it. But where the real work is spending the time to go through your strengths, identify those, have them validated, and how they are applicable to what you do in industry. And so my coach and I are going to work through, we're going to do some discussional webinars and then have it condensed out so that we can actually bring people and demonstrate what the process looks like. So really the identification piece, and then how we come to that, and how we iterate it, and then how we speak to it, and how we identify how the brands and the behaviors are attributed to what we do, how those then can be used going forward into elevating, and then again, validating what you are, so that when you're going out and expressing who you are, you can feel confident that that's who you are and that you are secure in that space. So that's the personal part. Of course, the LinkedIn and all the other pieces of the look of it and the content are there. But I think people talk about it without actually being displaying what the process looks like. So we want to bring awareness to that so that people have an idea of the work that needs to be done.
Thank you very much for that deep dive. Patrick, representation means public relations. I've been in PR related things since I was 15. How are you doing this differently? And also give us a quick look at the next 90 days. How does that relate to what Jeff was just talking about?
Sure. Jeff just brought up an incredible topic and one of my passions, which is branding. Represent, we are a representation firm. We truly sit in our own space. And I think, as Jeff just said, I think this was a time of reflection for everyone. I know it was for me. In March, I started with a global mobility firm, if you can imagine, on March 9th. Right before COVID hit. So incredibly intense role with regional sales director of the UK and Benelux, and also driving marketing for 46 countries. So incredible success that we achieved within that period of time. It's no mystery to most people on the call. I do work 18 hours a day. I love to work. It's my passion. But this has been a very interesting time. I think, in global mobility, right? A lot of firms had to become more agile, and they really had to take a look at, do we really need to be physically in 46 countries? And I think that's a great question because, the answer is no, you don't right now, right? Because we're all on one call and we're everywhere in the world, right? You can make this work remotely. So I took a great deal of time, and things really went in my favor. I had the opportunity to launch my own brand. As Jeff just said, you don't realize how many details go into a brand until you actually work with an incredible designer, right? So before I launched a brand, right, you want to launch a website and do all of those things. Well, you have to build a brand book first, right? What are your colors? What is your strategy? What is your core competency? So all of the details in a brand is what makes a brand unique, and it allows you to place yourself in a very positive light. Represent, we sit in our own space. A representation firm traditionally will go within one market and be boots on the ground for sales and marketing within hospitality or other industries. I took my experience over the past 17 years that no one has, right? I've worked in 16 markets worldwide, 5-star serviced residences. I've done startup, I've done mobility. So no one really has the exact experience I do. So I took that and I decided, you know what? I'm going to be 40 next year. I'm going to launch my own brand and do something that I'm passionate about. And I learned a long time ago, Ed, Stephen Corman well. He said to me at 21, and he was my mentor, and I was very fortunate. He always said, if you don't love what you do, go out and find something you love, right? And I think this is a really unique time to actually take a look and reflect. If you don't love what you do, go find something that you do, because you can do it. Whether you are based in Philadelphia and you're pursuing a role in the Middle East, you can actually do it.
And it's not work because you love what you do.
That's true. It's true. Just a brief introduction to Next 90 Days. And, Jeff is quite familiar with this and some others on the call. But Next 90 Days is Martin Pools, who's brilliant, based in Amsterdam, and Neil Botham's, based in Singapore. Have both been within the C-suite globally for about 10 to 12 years each. So we have created, and I'm a partner and brand ambassador at Next 90 Days. It's a C-suite management transformation firm. Again, we have those 4 global locations. And what we're doing is we're taking our networks, which are now worldwide, and we want to be able to go into firms that need help, whether that be a mobility firm that requires cash flow, right? Or needs to consider, do they need to be in all of these markets? Do they need to sell locations, and what does that look like? So taking the experience of Martin and Neil and what will, eventually be other C-suite consultants, how do you transform a company? It's an aggressive program. There's a very particular plan in place, but it's within 48 business days. It's not a consultancy, and I happen to know consultancy. My husband is a consultant, so it's not a project that starts as 90 days and ends up in 5 years and still hasn't really accomplished the goal. So it's a very unique and bespoke program. And both are working well, and AKA is one of my top clients at Represent. So I've taken my experience and really developed, and living the dream.
Thank you, Patrick. We're going to circle back. Csaba is an author. Uncommon Sense for Uncommon Minds, or Uncommon Minds?
Almost.
Almost.
Uncommon Sense in Unusual Times.
Yeah, that's it.
But that time when I published the book, I didn't know it would be so relevant. So I think it became practical.
Yeah. And so you've just heard a quick representation of who we have here today. There's a couple of others that might be joining us. I wish they were here, but this is great. And let's move forward. Csaba, Patrick was just talking about the branding and, in other words, identification and then getting the message out. So in these uncommon times, crazy times, and we're moving into what I call lucky 21, Okay, so what do you recommend using your disc idea? And perhaps you could talk more about the different colors in your disc and what they represent, again, from the branding idea and the communication flow of your approach using that disc, and explain that and how it relates to your book.
Okay. Okay, I think Patrick mentioned the most important part, that is this is a time for reflection, because a lot of people gave up their dreams for the illusion of job security. And we had to realize that it's all gone. But you don't have dreams and you don't have jobs. So what do you do now? And I think this pandemic is just exposing people, companies, and even countries. You can see the real personality. There's nowhere to hide. And you can see who's providing real value and who is not. And a lot of people disappeared. You know, the ones who were talking about growth mindset and I changed your business, and where are you now? Prove it. Practice what you preach. And they disappeared. So I think it's easier to stand out now. And there was also a shift from going to work to doing the work. There's a big difference there. And also leading teams shifted to managing ourselves. And that's why we had to change the focus as well within the company, because we focus on leadership development. And there are so many programs teaching you how to manage other people, but how about leading yourself? And suddenly when people had to spend a lot of time at home alone or with their families, that was a new set of problems. They didn't know themselves. It's easy to get distracted when you go to work and you don't like your colleagues and the boss is annoying. But now, who do you blame? You have to take responsibility for your own growth. How do you hold yourself accountable? How do you motivate yourself? How do you get along with yourself and others? It became much more important. It was always there, but it was often ignored. And this is what we have to focus on first, the mindset. But how do you fix something if you don't know how it works? We don't learn about this. And that will be the first step. Usually people are passionate about criticizing others and changing the world and inspiring millions while remaining the same. That's not how it works. That's not really credible. But when you have to get to know yourself, maybe you find something you don't like. And you have to face your demons. That's not pretty. Personal development doesn't feel good. And we have to make a distinction between what feels good and what is positive. Because naturally we think if something is painful, avoid it. But once you understand that it can serve you, it can make you grow, then you can reframe that experience. So it can be painful, but also positive. So the book is about, not about telling people what to think, but it's about helping them think and reflect on so many outdated and incomplete ideas that we used to take for granted. And they might cause more harm than good right now. So people can ask better questions so they can make better decisions for themselves. But it all starts with us. So that's what the book is about.
Okay, now you have a network of consultants, right? Teammates, but you can describe it better than me. But what is the training to attract and secure these people to become partner with you and to get involved in what you're talking about on a coaching basis?
So when I started my research more than 10 years ago, then I had to realize that around 90 or 95% of companies buy and sell people solutions created in the 60s or 70s. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we love our great-grandparents, but when they answered the questions, there was no internet, no European Union, no cheap flights. They had very different challenges than us, yet we are using those solutions to address the new ones. And if you look at the statistics, clearly something is wrong. So that's really important to focus on that. And to understand the difference between the standard DISC and psychometric assessment and global DISC, because there's a big one. So if you look at the psychometric assessments, like the standard DISC and any of those versions, they explain how the different personality types tend to behave if they are not influenced by anything or anyone around them, which is pretty impossible. That never happens. Because you can put different people in a team and they conform to certain norms, at least most of them. So you don't see that. Global DISC provides the missing 50%, the cultural intelligence part, because we measure the mindset gap between what is natural to you and what is normal around you. And that can be a huge difference. Culture is not who we are, it's what we are used to. You don't choose your gender, your generation, or your country of origin. But even if you are completely different, you learn how to navigate efficiently in that environment. So this is our topic. And when we certify partners, then it's not just a simple ICF accredited certification, it's a business in a box. So they get everything, 4 gigabytes of training material, online portal, and also a community where we want to create this ecosystem, where we create synergy instead of competing. So that's the main USP.
Thank you. Okay, Robert Garcia, how can your company, Randstad RiseSmart, assist people who are in transition today? And when we get done with what you're going to talk about, we're going to take a quick break and go to look at video and some of the commercials. And then when we come back, I want to discuss with you the use of video to communicate more and better. Of course, branding is key, isn't it, Patrick? And how do you convey an image and a message? Robert Garcia, how can your company assist people who are in transition? We have people on the program today that are going to tune into you with all ears right now.
Certainly, as you can imagine, we're extremely busy. There are lots of companies that have reductions in force, really, unfortunately, notifying lots of employees. And what we do is that's really our main focus is career transition, outplacement. So the company notifies the individual, we assist them. We have career coaches, we have branding experts. Love the conversation. I can relate to everything that everybody's talking about because that's part of the services we provide. So immediately you get unlimited career coaching. We have thousands of coaches throughout the world. We match our coaches with the experience of the individual. We have certified resume writers, branding experts, job market concierge that download opportunities, really handpick jobs for individuals. So it's important to brand yourself. It's important to recognize what it is, a lot of what Patrick and Jeff were talking about. Really understand what you want to do. We have several tracks where individuals can select, whether it's stay in the same industry, change careers. There are a lot of individuals that are thinking about retirement or going out on their own and consulting. We assist through all those tracks, and we know that individuals, but first you have to really think about what you want to do. And focus all of your efforts, really start marketing yourself and really exploring the opportunities that you have. I'll tell you, you talk a little about what did you learn during this pandemic? And what we learned is that we were well positioned because we have been fully virtual for forever since we started the company. We all work remote, and technology has always been our friend. We have a platform that is full of resources and tools for individuals. So we do programs on how to interview virtually, how to use the technology to your advantage. We have applicant tracking systems where you have to have keywords to make sure that you get seen, that your resume gets picked up or seen. So it's been a great learning experience, and we've solidified working remotely. And I think individuals are really learning how to kind of connect through this little square. I think we all miss the personal touch and the travel. Having worked for a company where I used to travel 60% of the time, you can imagine, you get a little cabin fever. But I think the world of work is going to be very different. If I were the owner of commercial real estate, I would be very worried because employees today are not looking to go into an office. They're looking to continue doing their work from the comfort of their home office. And I think that's where the opportunities are.
So a lot of this now, isn't it true that a lot of what's going on now is about reskilling, upskilling, reinventing, but like, for instance, what I've done is I've reached from my past and brought forward some of the old things, but now I'm doing it in a new way. So I call it the new now for me, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Reskilling and upskilling is an important part of what we do. So we need to look at the skills that we have, or what we call transferable skills. And do we need those skills? The other thing we do is through our platform, we provide 20,000 courses. So individuals can be prepared for that next opportunity. And that's included in the services. So if you're looking for a job that requires project management skills, well, you can take a project management certification course and be ready for that next opportunity. Whatever it is that you need. Also career exploration. Sometimes, you know, when you're in transition, many times you think, you know, I don't want to continue doing what I've been doing for 20 years. Maybe this is a time to reinvent myself. Well, we give you the tools and resources to find out, is a career, you know, do I start a business on my own? Is it a good time now? What industry should I be in? Or should I continue this corporate role that I've had? So there are lots of options and opportunities. I can tell you, it's probably one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had, because you're with individuals when they're at a pivotal point in their life, and they're so appreciative of the support and the resources we give them. And then they transition into a really nice job that really fits what it is that they want to do.
So I see everybody's using the chat. So Robert, is it okay if I and others send you a message and say, here I am, help me?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way, we have free resources available, because this is what we do, where we come from a mindset of abundance. We're all about sharing and helping individuals, particularly in transition. And we have a website full of free resources and tools for everyone to take advantage of.
What's the website for our audience out there in the world?
It's ronstadrisesmart.com. So ronstadrisesmart.com.
So for the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to see a number of ads in the form of video, and then we'll come right back. And then we want to do a deep dive on reinvention. Ali doesn't have to reinvent himself because he's an all-star guy. But but really, after leaving the sheltered existence of Boeing for many years and C-suite, all over the world, he's working from his beautiful home overlooking the lake. But what's it like to not having all these people waiting on you? So anyway, save that for after we come back, okay? And Maryann, I see on your LinkedIn page that you are a human interlink or something, that the people refer to you as a hyperlink because you can get things done.
And I'm good at connecting people. Exactly right.
All right, cool. And now a word from our co-sponsors. You know, our programs wouldn't happen without the wonderful support of our advertisers. Here they are.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
Cube Monk, featuring the world's first smart cube. Track your goods with our advanced GPS system. Welcome to the future of moving and relocation at cubemonk.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by heirs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at heirs.com.
Insured Nomads provides protection and peace of mind with health insurance, travel insurance, group, or tailored insurance for the globally mobile. Visit us at insurednomads.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Hi, my name is Christine. I'm a nurse from the Philippines, and I got to know IAS through Worldwide Health Staff Solutions. And I want to thank IAS, especially to Matthew, for helping me get my car stress-free, headache-free. And so I just want to show you the car that I got. So it's a RAV4 XLE 2020.
As an expat moving to the USA, relocating is exciting, but it can also be stressful. Getting a car, truck, or SUV for personal transportation is usually a high priority. That's where International Auto Source comes in. We make getting the vehicle you want for your work assignment or academic program easy, so you're ready to drive when you arrive. Our product specialists have helped over 50,000 expatriates with their personal transportation needs, making us the largest international auto retailer in the world. International Auto Source gives you flexible payment options to buy, lease, or rent a vehicle from the world's leading auto brands, arrange financing on a purchase or lease without a U.S. credit history, social security number, or driving record, get full insurance coverage, and get approved easily through our low-rate factory-backed financing programs. And because we're an authorized distributor of the world's leading automotive brands, our no-haggle prices are competitive, and the buying experience is hassle-free. We'll even guarantee your new vehicle will be ready the day you arrive. With over 20 years of experience in the global community, we are the vehicle experts for expats. We are International Auto Source.
Robert Garcia, what was the most rewarding thing that you have experienced in this job? And how does it relate to video or communications with people who you've helped?
Yeah, I think again, one of the most rewarding things is being with people and helping them, giving them resources and tools to define what it is that they want to do, help them with their career. I also teach at Florida International University. I teach an HR course, and I love it when young individuals coming into the HR field call me or want me to serve as a mentor. I love to see the kind of the spark, the interest in the profession of human resources, the helping people navigate through the world of business. I think it's incredibly rewarding to at a certain stage in your career, in your life. The older you get, I guess, the more you really want to give back. I think this is a great opportunity to really upskill and reskill personally for all of us, to use technology to your advantage, to have a good camera. We use a lot of videotaping. You ask yourself questions and you watch yourself on the video to prepare for those interviews, and I think that's important. And then obviously we have tools and resources to give people to make sure that the background is appropriate, that you don't have any cats or children, which is the new normal, by the way. People are working from home, and the interruption of the cutting the lawn, the phone ringing, the children or pets interacting, is somewhat acceptable nowadays, especially in as you're working from home. But in an interview, you need to be a little more formal, because they're really evaluating you, and making sure all those interruptions are limited is probably a good suggestion.
Thank you very much. So I'm not going to be political in what I'm about to say. It's strictly business, okay? Mm-hmm. But with so many people out of work now, unemployed, and in danger of going into deep debt, it's pretty scary when you think about the impact on the economy, but more so on the impact of personal lives and mental health. So retraining and upskilling is going to be the greatest industry in 2021 and probably beyond. And Robert Garcia, I would think that you, and especially with your SHRM contacts, and of course now with Randstad, you have all the capabilities to go into different communities, just say in the US, never mind around the world with all your different partners. But you can set up training, remedial training, so that you could take somebody like me and teach me how to code. Believe me, I tried to do it when I was younger with zeros and ones, and I said, forget about it. I'm going out and sell. I don't want to know this stuff. And I still haven't learned it. A long time.
Yeah, you know, there are a lot of resources and training. I mean, I think Helen's has a great example of how they really pivoted and were very agile at, you know, they had in-person conferences, and all of a sudden they created this tremendous virtual conference. And we do that nowadays. It's amazing, the undertaking. I mean, you were part of it. It's amazing what they were able to do and tap into so many resources throughout the world. And that's what this technology is giving us. That meetings like this, as you know, somebody earlier said, meetings like this are happening, and we don't have to. Would love to be in person in Maui or in the Middle East, but we can definitely do so much more virtually. I started at Randstad RiceSmart in the middle of the pandemic because there was such a tremendous need that somebody reached out to me and offered me an opportunity to start. I have not met any of my coworkers or bosses personally. All the interviews were virtually. I was set up with a home office in less than a week. And I feel so connected to the team of people that I work with throughout the world because of this technology, because of this little camera. I spend a lot of time in this chair and this little camera, but as an extreme extrovert, I'm getting my personal connections that are different, virtual, but I feel a sense of connection, and I think that's what people have to recognize and understand.
Right. Thank you, Maryann. Sorry to leave you to last here, but we're going to keep going. So
it's okay.
Yeah. So what have you heard, and how does it relate to what you're doing inside your organization?
This is so great. Thank you for inviting me. I've learned so much in the past, whatever. What have I learned? A ton. It's just great to know who's out there doing what, because I get siloed into my immigration world and I forget that there's a world behind rules and regulations and executive orders and all that kind of stuff. So it's just really great to be here. Thank you.
So the kinds of people that you're managing now in your day job, it's all young people, I would assume, right?
Au contraire, no. Most of the company, it's a French company, so most of the personnel are either French or Indian, and there's a few Japanese. So my job is to make sure everybody is compliant with all sorts of rules and regulations and nobody falls out of their immigration status. But I am also learning about Canadian immigration and immigration to the UK because we're transferring people overseas. And although my basis is in US immigration law, it's so interesting to me how Canada and the UK have such bizarre names for things that are so easy for me to understand in the US. Like leave to enter, what does that mean? That's some kind of British residence permit where you can leave and come back. So it's just the terminology is what's really becoming very interesting to me because I have to figure out what it all means.
So a lot of this has to do with global mindset and cross-cultural understanding. And you probably gave people lessons on how to pronounce your name.
Everybody just calls me Maryann. It's a lot easier.
So, Ali, what do you think of all this from a retraining point of view? Because you've been trying to retrain yourself since taking retirement.
It's a never ending. It's always, like my company, the FTD Global, this is feel, think, do. Everything from the second we open our eyes, we keep on bouncing between these three things. We feel, we think, we do, we think, we feel, and we keep on doing all of that. I tell you, there's not that many settings, discussions that I feel like I don't want to say a word. I just want to sit down and listen. And this is one of them. There's so much richness of knowledge and experience. I just want to sit back and listen. To answer your question, and just to let you know how with that transition that we're going through pre-COVID, COVID, post-COVID, not many folks are talking about post-COVID, but this is it's gonna happen. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking with one of my mentees, and of course he was saying, I'm just tired, I just wanna get out. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. Do you remember when we used to work together and almost every Friday, Friday at noons when you come in and say, you know what, I'm going to go and work from home. This is going to be an awesome weekend. Do you remember that? Like, yeah, that's right. So I have a feeling that there's going to be, with all these changes that is happening, the reflection that we were talking about, there's a lot of opportunities here. This is the best time. Trust is not built when everything is awesome. You build trust when things go wrong, and smart leaders, smart companies, they induce crises because you want that muscle to continue to be functioning. And many times we've connected with customers when they have an airplane on ground, when they have all these upset customers, passengers on the airplane. What a wonderful way to connect with people at a time of crisis. And this is an awesome, awesome opportunity for all of us. One of my mentors, Rob Laird, he told me once, he said, look, we don't sell airplanes when the airlines have money in their pocket. The best time to sell airplanes is when they don't have money. and especially right now is amplified because there's that fear, there's that uncertainty. But in the end, it's the same kind of type of challenges, but it's taken a different form. But in the end, I love what John C. Maxwell said. He said, people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So in every
Amen.
interaction, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's over, video, are you here, to express or to impress? Are you here to really connect with people on a deeper level? Are you interested as a successful project manager to come up with a result they get the cost, quality, and schedule? Or are you interested in this as being a successful project manager when you're done with the project and then you have another project coming up and you stand up and say, who wants to work with me? How many people are going to say me, me, me? So it's really that aspect of working together and connecting with people. Like yesterday, Csaba and we were exchanging on LinkedIn. We were, it was like, 1:30 in the morning here. And I totally lost it. And I said, I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow and just learn. And then I'm like, tomorrow? He said, wait a minute. No, it's today. I looked at the time and it was like 2 a.m. So time is no longer. And so I don't know. I look at what's going on right now, and there's no pressure, no diamonds. I mean, if you look at problems as problems and not look for the opportunity, you'll miss out so much. Having been through so much, a lot of people, they tell me that, oh, how are things going with the quarantine? And I'm like, this is awesome. Thank God I have electricity 24 hours a day. I have internet, I have water. I've been in situations, how do you like to be in the middle of a besieged city where you are quarantined, but you hear rockets, you hear airplanes, you hear things, and you're afraid to get out. And you want to get out. You just want to get out of the house, but there's no electricity, no food, nothing. So, putting things in perspective, it's really it's an opportunity. I'll stop right there. I can talk till the evening.
Maryann.
Wait, Ali, I have a question. Are you in Beirut?
No, I'm in Seattle.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm in Seattle right now. And this is what I was telling Ed earlier. I said, stop telling me that you're in San Diego or in Hawaii. It's in Seattle. If you look in there, it's cloudy. But I love it. I love the rain. I don't mind it, but I would rather be in a sunny place right now.
Beirut is on my list, but I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with the name FTD, and how do people not confuse you with the florist?
I honestly, I didn't think about the florist until I came up with that name. And it's part of the within the Boeing company, we have a university within the company. So I've facilitated classes with employees, training, doing business across cultures, customer service, global leadership, all these. And in the end, we're like, what's really important in life? It turns out to be, to me, is those are the three things. I don't know what else is out there, emotional intelligence, feeling, thinking, and doing. That's all we do every day. So I came up with that name.
So my job is to bring people together, and this is a beautiful example. We could continue talking. We don't have to stop this, but if people need to jump out, that's okay. Jeff Houck, thank you for joining us again. So you and I have talked about protocols, the word protocols, and we hear it from Dr. Fauci about protocols and all that, but you and I were talking about protocols of how global mobility management should really work better. Would you do a few minutes about that, please?
Sure. Obviously near and dear to me. And I had an interview yesterday, another one with a company I'm very interested in. So exciting, because working and speaking, excuse me, with that senior leader, we talked about this. And we have to really move to this people-centric model. But it's not just about, when Ed and I were talking about this, people talk about mobility as just this transactional piece. And they're talking about it from when we're literally looking at the employee and the movement, whether it's permanent or an assignment. And Ed, we also talked about this on your California show, California Bound. And what is most important in mobility is that we really need to step back and we need to start way before we even get into anything tactical. And that is working with the business and understanding what the role is, and then finding the employee for the role rather than having an employee and trying to fit them into a role. Because if you do that, it's never going to work. And then Csaba, we talked about a lot about that cultural readiness, awareness, ability to understand and engage where you're going so that you can actually meet your objectives. So all of these socio pieces are so important, and they're often the pieces that are the last to be realized or acknowledged. And so understanding those at the front of it allows the business and the employee to succeed in both their goals. So the employee and their family are able to transition in a space that they feel supported. And the other one is the business is able to realize their investment and get something out of it. So there just needs to be a lot of thought in that rather than the tactical elements.
Yeah, Helen, thank you for helping build this program. Where are you going to go for dinner? What kind of food are you going to eat? I'm sorry, you're on mute.
We're going in for Thai cuisine.
Thai?
Yes.
Wow. Thai for two, or are you going to be with a group?
No, it's my son, my husband, and myself.
Oh, how nice. Okay,
It's our
great.
wedding anniversary today.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
No, congratulations. Thank you for taking your time here. Nazia,
You're welcome.
thanks for staying up late here, or do you
That's
do this
all
all the time?
Yeah, no problem. I don't know if it's late or just normal time. So time is, as Ali said, time is becoming more and more, objective than actually we used to take time as it is. Most of us, like global mobility people, realize that it is this time in Dubai, which is around 9:30 to around 12, where we have America's, we work with people who are in American region. And if I have to get things done, like for instance, my client finances in US, and I have to get things done, I would rather stay late and then, get things done, catch them online. And so I'm very much used to, and I'm used to working from home as well. So it really bothered me. Time is fine.
Great.
Thank you so much. I have to jump off, but it's a pleasure being with you.
Thank you. Please come back again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
Hi, Robert.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
So Nazia, what kind of work do you want to do?
I want to do something different at the start of the year, but now I eventually want to do something slightly different. So what I realized that something I was thinking about was using data in the right way that we need to do, and which has been missing. So I work with multiple clients, right, in the mobility function. I worked as an in-house as well in oil and gas. And most of the time I realized that we didn't utilize the data supposed to, the way it is supposed to be used. And most of the time we were not aware of how to make decisions based on proper data analysis. And I think this particular year has given us an opportunity to see that if we would have had better representation of how the business worked, how we managed our cost, what options did we choose, and how can we measure that what we were doing, what partners we were working with, how effective it was, then we could have made a better, we can make better decisions. So what I did, Edwin, was enroll myself in a data analysis course, because you know that I lost my job. So October 31st was my last day, and unfortunately, the gift of COVID, or I don't know what, but basically, majorly the gift of COVID was that so many people have lost their jobs. And I was one of them, so I was made redundant. So my job search was on its peak, and the realization that, you know, what I wanted to do, and I have time now. So I was investing my time in most of the learning parts. So any free resources, any cheap resources I just targeted them, and I was paying attention to. Yes, so I think 2021 will be very important year if we understand and be able to read data and we compare ourselves from the past years into 2020, so for a better strategy in the 2021.
Yeah, thank you very much. Patrick, thank you for joining us today. What are you going to take away from this encounter, close encounter of the something kind?
Yeah, thanks again, Ed. Yeah, I think these sessions are inspiring. You know, I always think that it's incredibly helpful to spend time with leaders in different industries. And, you know, I in opening my own firm, and if you go to represent.com and the first E is a 3, if you read about me, you know, I think, you know, this group has really indicated, you know, when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was work, right? From the time I was 6 years old, I wanted to work, like I loved it. And I kind of took that opportunity and converted it into represent, right? When I was a kid, if you're from the US, they called me Alex P. Keaton. I wore full suits and had a briefcase at 6 years old. So, you know, and that obsession, which is one of my, you know, core drivers in represent, you know, I think this is such a great time, and Ali mentioned it as well. You know, listen, it's a great time for learning. You know, the feeling, the doing, you have to take those things. You know, what better opportunity? And Nazia just talked about the importance of analytics. I'm very confident with next 90 days. And Ed, you've met Martin, and I think you've had some conversations with Neil Bothams. You know, what better way? And Ali, I will likely reach out to you separately to have a discussion. But you know, what better way than to go into a company and don't just, you know, do the data analytics and leave it, right? To have a firm that will come in and actually transform within 90 days your firm. That's something that's unique to COVID. You know, I don't think this concept would have happened without COVID and those challenges. But, you know, my personality has always been the answer is yes. What's the question? So let's do it, right? It is what it is. Control the controllables. 2021, here we come.
Right. And so Patrick, do you have any tips about how we can see around corners?
No.
Oh, I wanted an answer. Come on. Ali, can you see around corners? What's coming?
Oh, goodness. You know, the important thing is you keep your eyes open and you keep that positive attitude and look for the good things in every bad that happens. That's, you know. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it's better not to know what's around the corner.
That's true. Yeah. So Helen, thanks very much. Happy anniversary. Have a good time tonight.
Thank you so much.
And come on back. And thank you so much. You know, it was Helen, Ali, that introduced me to Sarah Tabit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Ali was on the show. And we just had a great conversation. And let's do more.
Yeah, this is so awesome. I want to underscore what Patrick said, and also what I've heard from both from Helen and Nazia and the rest of the. I mean, this is just a great opportunity. I think if we're working in an office where we go to work and do this thing that we're doing, I don't think we would have that exposure with such a wonderful resource across the globe. There's just so much to learn and connect with people, and I'm just, I don't know. It's in one of the sessions, the seminars that I've done at Boeing, I have a paragraph that was written by somebody in a newspaper saying, you know, this world is coming to an end. I mean, you know, with COVID, there's a lot of depression, right? A lot of people are depressed. And they're talking about this is going to be the end of the world, da, 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 da. And I said, what do you guys think? They said, of course. Why are you showing us something that we say every day? I said, no, this was back in the 20s and the 30s. This was written back then. So it's always, every time there's always going to be, this pizza that I'm doing is not as good as it used to be before, or I want something different. There's always going to be something that's keeping us from, that's challenging us, and just for us to look at the best in everything that happens to us. So I love that, and I'm looking forward to connect with you, Patrick.
Yes, and you just brought up one final thought, Ed, and can I look around corners? No, but here's what I'll say. I think, a term that stood out to me when I was 22 years old at a relocation conference was this dynamic leader who talked about the term co-opetition. And, that always stuck with me because, right, you can compete with a lot of companies, and, there may be people on the screen or people, that are watching the broadcast that, you may compete in certain scenarios, but you also operate within the same space. So why not partner? And I think those firms that survive and do incredibly well moving forward, they're collaborators, right? Ali just said it. This has allowed us to be more global, right? We might have had conferences, US domestic conferences, ERC, Eura, yes, we did those global conferences. We can do them every week now with Ed Cohen. So congratulations.
Thank you.
True.
Hey, all right.
True.
Thank you, Helen.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would just like to pick up from Patrick and Ali as well. I like what Ali said. From every bad comes good. And I think that's what the pandemic has taught us. We being an in-person global platform have now gone virtual. And, Robert rightly said, we were quick to pivot to the virtual platform. And within a short span of time, we came up with 4 summits, which were purely global. I know you, Ed, you were part of it. Csaba was part of it. Nazia was a great help as well. And we had representations from almost 32 countries, which we would never have that in person, for people to fly in from all over the world to come to Dubai, because that's where we had planned to do our summit in April. And we were working towards it, 8 months down the line. And suddenly COVID struck. What do? We had to cancel it and then quickly pivot to the global platform. But we had a great representation. We had fantastic speakers. We had great content, and we were competing with some of our competitors who were pricing their events at $3,000 and $4,000. And we had priced ours for a 5-day summit at $40 with 8 workshops. We've got them quality. We were focusing on actionable, insights. And we stood tall among all of them. And these were global, much, much bigger in size. We're an SME. But that's what, that's what the pandemic brought about. It brought us good, as well as we can't kind of trivialize the people that are suffering, people that are going through a bad time. But with our summit, we, I don't know, somebody mentioned, I think Robert mentioned that we come from a mindset of abundance. And that's what we did. We kind of reached out. We priced our events low, made it affordable for anyone to even pay out of pocket and be part of it. And we also allowed people, people that were job seekers to come in. We gave them a complimentary seat and allowed them to kind of network. And, if anything clicks, great, but we gave them the platform. With all said and done, I think the way forward 2021, I think we're going to be looking at going completely digital. I think in-person events or in-person meetings, I think is going to take a while. I think it's probably going to be anywhere between 12 to 18 months. And I think people are going to get into that mindset of getting comfortable with online. Before it was not, everybody wanted to be in person, but right now I think people are getting used to it. And I think it just makes more sense. You can reach out to that many more people. You can bring in that much more quality, at an affordable price. And I think it's the way to go.
Ali, you want to sum up, and then we have to jump out.
I think just if everything what I'm hearing is really this positive outlook at life. I mean, what we appreciates. We always find what we're looking for, and we always, if we make a big deal, about, we look for something, we can't find it. Oh, this is so important. I gotta have that. I gotta have that. I gotta have that. And then when you have it, it's like, oh, well, I gotta look for something else to complain about, But what we appreciates, what we resist persist. And that's my motto every day as I'm going through the feel, think, do every day. So I love this. It was great seeing you, Nazia. It's nice meeting you, Helen and Patrick. I'm looking forward to with you. If there's anything I can do to help, any ideas, bounce it off me. I'll be more than happy to share what my thought. Anything that I can do will help, and nothing in return. This is not an advertisement for return on effort. No,
I think that's the beauty of networking, and as Patrick rightly said, we should collaborate. I think that's the way forward. We can't be sitting in a competitive zone. I know there are lots there who want to kind of, come down at you like a sledgehammer. But I think collaboration, I think people with great mindsets and want to kind of give and grow for a greater good would collaborate. The ones that, yes, absolutely. The competition is there everywhere, but there's a piece of pie for everybody. You don't need to kind of step on somebody to kind of grow. Collaboration is the way forward. And I think the more people think on those lines, I think we'll have a better community for ourselves, and we'll be serving better.
Yeah, I love the competition, Patrick. I haven't heard that, and that's awesome. That's
you'll never forget that now.
No.
I think that this has really been a learning experience for me and for our audience. So our distribution goes forward, following some tucks and snips and editing by our wizard, Paul Johnston. Paul, why don't you come forward and say hi to these nice people before we sign off? And this show is going to be put up on our site within 24 hours or less, and then connect to our YouTube channel, and then the world will see it for the next year.
Awesome.
And
job,
so
Paul.
we'll send you all the link, send the link to all of you. Feel free to pass it around. And thank you very much. If there's anything more that you need from us, just shoot me a note. Very happy to say that we're in the process of renewing our advertisers and finding and securing more. And almost all the current advertisers have already committed to go into the new year and beyond. So we're very, very happy to have what looks like a success, and couldn't do it without you guys. Nice to meet you, Patrick. Thanks, Nazia. Let's stay in touch. By the way, January 13, we're doing a broadcast, which is now developing, and its working title is, talk about branding, Patrick, our working title is Women in Power Positions. All right. And we've got a whole cast of characters coming from Brazil and France and Sweden and Germany and US and hopefully Middle East. I think Sarah is going to join us from Dubai. And so think about that. Nazia, if you know of other ladies who want to join this group. Patrick, I welcome you. Ali, you're always welcome.
Thank you.
I'll be there.
All right, cool. All right, signing off.
Thank you,
Ciao.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day and stay safe.